Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. A special welcome to you new folks. I know I saw quite a few of you here. Thank you very much for coming. For those that don't know me, my name is Sam Baracador. I'm the chairman of Mercer County Patriots. We're going to start our meeting. Linda will that is with a prayer, a pledge, and then a video by Steve. Linda, break light.
Please rise.
It's a little better.
Lord, we honor and praise you for all our blessings. Lord, we need your help. We need to get rid of all the hatred that has been brewing in this country. We try to be tolerant, but it is very hard when the offenders are in our face constantly. Lord, give us the strength to fight them off. Give us the guidance to know how to stop them, or at least slow them down. Father God, we need you in our lives more than ever. We need you in our schools. We need our places of worship open so that we can be closer to you. I want to say forgive them for what they know not what they do, but I think they do know. I think they are very intent on keeping you, our Lord, out of our lives. We can't let that happen. We must be vigilant and strong to fight against them. We may not always live the kind of life you wish for us, but you know our hearts. You know we are genuinely interested in making our country a better, more godly place. Touch each and every one of our hearts tonight in this place and give us the resources to do your will. Continue to rest your arm on our shoulders, and probably for me, keep your hand over my mouth. Thank you, Lord, for all you do for us, for the country and our community, and the good officials that are working for the betterment of our society. We worship and praise you. Thank you. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We gotta get brighter. A little better. It's a little better. We're gonna turn them on after the movie. Oh.
Hello, I'm Chris Christophers. On November 8, 1965, 173rd Airborne Brigade on Operation Hump, War Zone D in Vietnam, were ambushed by over 1200 BC. 48 American soldiers lost their lives. Severely wounded and risking his own life, Lawrence Joe, a medic, was the first living black man since the Spanish-American War to receive the United States Medal of Honor, for saving so many lives in the midst of battle that day. Our friend Niles Harris retired 25 years in the United States Army. The guy who gave me Kenny his top hat was one of the wounded who lived. This song is his story. Caught in the action and killed, he killed him. Greater love hath no man than to lay down his life for his brother.
As he left South Dakota, fight for the red, white, and blue. He was 19 and green with a new M16, just doing what he had to do. He was dropped in the jungle where the choppers rumble with the smell of napalm in the air. Then the sergeant said, "Look up ahead." Like a dark evil cloud, 1200 came down on him and 29 more. They fought for their lives, but most of them died in the 173rd Airborne. On the 8th of November, the angels were crying as they carried his brother There were few men left standing that day. Saw the eagle fly through a clear blue sky. 1965, the 8th of November. Saw the eagle fly through a clear blue sky. 1965, 65. On the 8th of November, the angels were crying as they carried his brothers away. With the fire raining down and the hell all around, there were few men left standing that day. On the 8th of November, the angels were crying as they carried his brothers away. With the fire raining down and the hell all around, there were few men left standing that day. Saw the eagle fly through clear blue sky, 1965. The 8th of November. As he left South Dakota, fight for the red, white, and blue. He was 19 and green with a new M16, just doing what he had to do.
Thank you, Steve. Folks, again, I want to remind you, please keep the talking down. It's very difficult to hear up here. Consider of the speakers as well. As you know, what we always do to protect our butts a little bit, we make a COVID-19 announcement. Sorry about that. Anyways, what we've done, we moved to a new venue, as you can see, larger, but spread out. We also spaced our chairs 6 feet apart, I believe. I think it's about 6 feet, I'm not quite sure. Also, for those who want, we have masks, gloves, and whatever else. You're certainly welcome to use them. Additionally, for those of you, if anyone feels uncomfortable and you want to leave, we will certainly understand that. You, folks, you're responsible for yourself. The second part of our announcement for the record, I want to read this. When the PA Health Secretary was asked about peaceful protests, not social distancing, and not wearing masks, stated, the governor has always said that people have the right to protest and to demonstrate and a right to free speech. And we are not going to restrict people's right to protest. So, there you have it, folks. Our meetings are to be considered peaceful protests. We are protesting against Governor Wolf's unconstitutional dictate for violating our First and 14th Amendment. So, welcome to our peaceful protest. Thank you. Let me talk to you a little bit about the November election. Obviously, it's over. We have not forgotten. We're not going to forget. As I say every month, we want to hold those in office accountable for some of the things that occurred. We definitely want answers. We do not have answers at the moment. However, there's a few things I can tell you. Last month, I mentioned that there are some people that are working with the Berks Election Center. I've been informed that there's a 76-page report, 78-page report that was just completed. Some interesting things in there. When that's home, I will pass that out to you. I know that's happening. In addition to that, I spoke to a PA representative last week. I also spoke to a PA senator yesterday about everything that's going on. They basically said the same thing. Hey, Sam, we're having all these hearings in both chambers. When the hearings is over, we'll collect all the information, then decide where we go from there, what kind of legislation we want, and decide accordingly. Well, folks, I told them, we the people, we want answers. We demand answers. We definitely want to hold people accountable and get this right. We want to get to the bottom of it. They know that in the strongest terms I can tell them. So if you have any opportunity to contact Harrisburg, your representatives, talk with them, please make sure, keep the feet to the fire. Also, some good news. Judge in Georgia, I don't know if you've ever heard this. This is on Tuesdays. It's fantastic. He has ruled that 120,000 ballots in Fulton County in Georgia. If that stands, that's big because they suspect there's 30,000 fraudulent ballots in that 120,000. So say a prayer that that continues. So that's good news. We will keep you up to date with that. I want to acknowledge some of the candidates that are here tonight. I know from Common Pleas Court, I saw Jim Gavin. Jim, wave your hand back there. Great. Okay, saw you here. Let's see. Is Tina Boyd here? Okay, I don't see her. Kurt, Tina, you here? Oh, okay. You must have snuck in on me. Also, Kurt Geishauser. Is Kurt here? Okay, Kurt, great. Let's see, Treasurer's Office, Jack Gumbaugh. Jack, I know is here. Anybody else from Treasurer's Office here? Okay, Jack is here, fine. And Coroner, I know John Billy is here. John, you're back here somewhere? John? John, okay, I got you. And Pathonetary, John DiPaolo is here. Did I miss anybody? Is anybody back there? But no, Barrett Joswiak is not a candidate. He's my representative, okay? There's a difference. Welcome, Barrett. Anybody else I should know about? Someone's waving, I don't know what, who? Barrett. Barrett Joswiak. Barrett, hi Barrett. Also, I did notice that the vice chair of the Berks County Republican Party is here. Heidi in the back there. I think Heidi, great. Heidi, just to pass on an announcement, they are having a dinner and reception on Monday, April 26th at, where is it? Soapsay, I should know that. So if anybody's interested in that, please go and see Heidi. Now, the candidates that are here tonight, I believe all of them are going to be here next month as well. Plus, we're going to have a couple of Supreme Court candidates here as well, and possibly others. Is anyone here from the group Free PA? Is Free PA here? Free PA? Whoa. Tabitha, are you here? Where are you? Where is she? Okay. Is anyone here want to talk on her behalf? Okay, well, first of all, let me just tell you folks, I just want to give a plug for Free PA, particularly Free PA in York. Linda and I were invited there about a week and a half ago. Fantastic group. Really, really impressed. Doing a great job, particularly for businesses that are fighting Governor Wolf's unconstitutional dictates with a citation. I was very impressed with what they were doing. There were several businesses there that expressed what was going on. The group was doing a fantastic job. I welcome you guys from being here tonight. Hopefully you're here again. Okay, moving on to some BCP business. Yes, sir? Schuylkill Valley chapter of Free PA. Schuylkill County. Okay, Free PA starting when? Very soon, okay? Keep us up to date. Fantastic. I also know we have here tonight Lehigh Valley Tea Party. I know Tom Carroll's here. Good. Hi, Tom Carroll. Anybody else that I should recognize? Oh, okay. Valley Tea Party. Great guys. Any other groups here? Yeah. Who? Oh, is that Oath Keepers? I'm not sure who's back there. Oath Keepers. PA Liberty Alliance. Well, I was going to give you a plug later on. Okay. PA Liberty Alliance. And the Oath Keepers are here as well. Okay, moving on. BCP business. Folks, we're still looking for locations for 4x8 signs. We have about 8 or 10. If you know of any other places that you have one, or you know a friend that has one, please let us know. Additionally, if you do not have a location or know one for 4x8 sign, everybody should be able to do, one of these. Now, we pay about $6 for these. We're not interested in selling for $6. We just want a donation. If it's $2, that's fine. The most important thing we want is to get these signs throughout the counties. So please help us with that. I think we may have, Dennis, how many do we have left? About 60, 70? Whatever, in that range. They should all go tonight. Also, for those of you that bought signs from our other location that said Leesport Farmers Market, we have a decal that can be put over that, so you can just go to the table over there and they'll take care of you for that. Let's see. We have a 50-50 raffle. We'll do that at the end. We also have a gun raffle, of which we're going to be doing that shortly, I believe.
Yes, Sam. The Springfield XD is sold out. I'm just going to go pick somebody to draw them whenever you want. Then if you're done.
Okay. And what do you have now? Smith & Wesson what? The 38?
Smith & Wesson stainless steel revolver, 38 plus P.
Okay, good gun, good. This is, I know a lot of folks have had a very difficult time purchasing firearms. Here, for $10, you might wind up getting one. Also, we have a Pocono weekend. $10. It's good for Friday to Sunday, from any weekend, May through August. Linda and I previewed it. Very nice. It sleeps 8, has 2 bathrooms. It's in a private community. Has 4 lakes. It's close to Jim Frost. Very nice area. We have that as well. And I think, Helen, you have some veteran signs. What are they? Veteran signs you have? Okay, I'm not sure what veteran group that is, but we have veteran signs there as well, if you want to help us with that. Now, folks, we do these raffles because basically we're trying to offset our expenses. The only income we have is what happens at these meetings here and any donations. So thank you very much for your support. Is Otto here? Otto, the Lehigh Valley Commentator? I didn't think so. Otto is the chairman of Lehigh Valley Commentator. It's a quarterly publication. If any of you would like to write an article, express your opinion, get it out, please see Linda, please see any board member. We'll get it to Otto. We have some up front there you can take. There's a couple articles in here this month by patrons, but it gives you an opportunity to read what others are thinking and also get it off your chest to put something in there as well if you'd like. Okay. Up next. Is Samantha here? Where's Samantha? Samantha? You're there? Okay. 1 second. Folks, November 14th. Remember, this is after the election. Lynn and I get a lot of invitations to go to different restaurants and so forth. So we got this particular one. As far as I was concerned, it was just someone who we knew that we were going to go to participate like we do. We go there, we look around, and most of the people I didn't even know. So I'm looking for the person who put the event on, who I thought it was, and could not find her. So walking around, I see these two women standing there talking to some other people. So I go up and said, who's in charge? And one woman says, I am. And I said, well, who are you? She says, I'm a nobody. Yes, folks, that's exactly what she said. She's a nobody. Well, that nobody has a name, and it's Samantha Vore, if I pronounced that right. And I want Samantha to come up for a minute or two and just tell you why she did what she did. Let's all welcome Samantha.
So embarrassing. I'm not good at public speaking, so I apologize. My name is Samantha Vore. I grew up down 78 off the Bethel exit. So I'm fairly local to Hamburg. I don't really know what to tell you. Like Sam said, I'm a nobody. I was sitting in my daughter's dance class one day, reading everything that was going on Facebook, pissed off beyond belief. The election was over, but I thought, you know what? What are the stereotypes for a Trump supporter? Male, over the age of 65, uneducated, and white. So I thought, why not? If I'm not going to speak up, who else will? So I decided, I talked to a couple girlfriends, and we put together just a Facebook event. We didn't really know what was going to come from it. We ended up having, there was a lot of people. I think somebody counted like over 75 cars show up. And this really happened within a week's time frame. I reached out to different organizations to see if they could help spread the word, because I wanted to show that you don't have to meet those stereotypes to support the president and what he stands for. So we just did it off a whim. I left 30 minutes before the event was even supposed to start, and I pull up, and I was worried that nobody would even show up. I pulled up, and there was probably 20 cars in the parking lot at the stairs already. So I was like, okay, this is, you know. So it was a great experience. I met a lot of good people that day, and, you know, most importantly, as a white, educated millennial, I was able to get out there and show that, hey, you don't have to be a male over the age of 65 and white to support the president. So that's what I'm not good at public speaking, but I'll give it back to Sam. But thank you for your time.
Samantha, thank you so much for doing what you did. Folks, she just got something here. She says, look, I just can't let this go by. I need to do something. So thank you. That's okay. Okay, let me just see where we are here. Well, first of all, as Samantha said, she's a nobody. We are all nobodies. And yet, we can make things happen. And together, folks, and together, we can really do some butt kicking. Just remember that. Okay. Was that Dean? You're up soon, buddy. Okay, Carol, Constitution Minute. Just to give you a heads up, Dean, Mr., Carol, Sally, you.
Thank you, Sam. Tonight I thought I'd talk about the president. If you took my class before, you're not allowed to answer. If you're in my class now, you haven't learned this yet, you can answer. How many duties does the president have according to the Constitution? How many? Somebody want to guess? How many? I don't hear any guesses. No, he has 6. 6 whole duties. I'll tell you what they are. Most important one, probably, he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. And that's especially important if we're in a war. And by the way, do you know when was the last time we had a real war?
Korea.
World War II. Every war we've been in since was never declared a war. The last war that we had that Congress declared was the Second World War. Everything since hasn't been a war, and we shouldn't have been doing it. Okay. His second duty is to grant pardons and reprieves. And you've seen every president, they usually wait till the end of their term, and then they give out some pardons and some reprieves. And they can pardon somebody before they've been convicted. If they're already accused and it looks like they're going to get convicted and he wants to pardon them, he can. Okay, number 3, he gets to make treaties with other countries, but he can't just do it alone. 2/3 of the Senate has to approve. 2/3. If 2/3 of the Senate doesn't approve, he can't make that treaty. The 4th duty is to appoint judges to the Supreme Court. He also appoints judges to other federal courts, and he appoints ambassadors and envoys to other countries. But all of those have to be approved by the Senate. He doesn't do any of that without the Senate's approval. Number 5, report on the State of the Union. Now, the Constitution just says from time to time he should report on the State of the Union. But over the years it's gotten to be an annual thing. Now, George Washington and John Adams, they gave the State of the Union in person, in a speech. Thomas Jefferson did not. He wrote his out and sent it to them. Thomas Jefferson, as intelligent as he was and as wonderful as he was, he had a very bad speaking voice. And when he talked for a long time, it strained his voice, so he chose not to give a speech. So he sent it in writing. And you know, after he sent it in writing, every president from then until 1913 sent it in writing. In 1913, they started doing them orally again. President Wilson started that. And the last rule is to enforce federal laws. Now, he doesn't make the laws. Congress makes the laws. Just like he doesn't get to declare war either. Congress does that. After we're in the war, then he's the commander-in-chief. When a law is broken, he can call up federal troops to quell whatever the problem is. That has been done rarely. It could have been done when we had some of that rioting up in Oregon and Washington, but he can't just decide to go in and settle things. The governor of the state has to ask for his help. So if you were mad because he didn't go into Oregon and help settle those people down, that's because the governor of Oregon wouldn't ask for him. They have to ask for the president to help before he can help. That also happens in disasters. The president can't just go down there when there's a hurricane and start helping. The governor has to ask for his help. So those are the 6 duties. Now think of all the other stuff that presidents have done and are doing that they shouldn't be doing because it's not their job. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Carol, how many do you have in your Constitution class? 70. Isn't that fantastic? Wow. Let's go over our classes. Up next, Sally, for our feel-good moment. You want to sit there, Sally?
I'm back up and standing. Today I'm going to read a story that a man published from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. After hearing the South Dakota governor speak, I think we all ought to go there. Okay, how many of you have ever flown a kite? Any of you ever made a kite? That's quite a few. Windy spring days always take me back to when my grandfather and I made kites out of lilac twigs, string, and the Sunday funnies. In Mitchell, South Dakota, I remember how Grandpa came home quietly through the back door with a newspaper under his arm after tucking the old Mercury in the garage. I knew his careful way of closing the door so it wouldn't slam, his soft shuffling tread and gentle whisper of his twilled trouser cuffs rubbing together. Grandpa had a cap with a big red star. I liked to wear that cap after he came home. It smelled of grill cream, camels, and gas. Seated in the kitchen table, we planned our first kite of the season. Waving his hands toward the ceiling, Grandpa would lean back in his chair and explain the laws of aerodynamics. That kite will go higher than the water tower, higher than an airplane. After discussing our plans, we'd rush outside and cut some long lilac twigs before Grandma called us to dinner. That evening, construction began in the basement. The cut twigs, barely green on the inside, were bound with string to form a resilient cross. Notches were cut onto the outside edges, and more string was run around the perimeter to create the kite's skeleton. Working there in the basement, just Grandpa and me, we could talk about Indian lore and a world of wondrous things. We'd kneel on the cold concrete floor near the stoker that rumbled coal into the furnace to keep away the chill of the evening. Two dangling bulbs burned shiny reflection on the rows of jarred fruit regimented last fall and cast a light on our tools. A stained coffee cup full of flour and water paste, a fat ball of string, lilac twigs, and a stack of neatly folded Sunday funny papers. No gray newsprint kite for us. After the paper was smoothed over, the stick framework, the edges were pasted down and tight, and the whole thing was weighed down with a few pieces of scrap lumber to dry overnight. Then it was time for me to go up to bed while Grandpa listened to the ball game on the radio. When a good flying day finally came, the best rags were chosen from the scrap basket to make the tail. Grandpa always said, when you're launching a kite for the whole town to see, you make it right from head to tail. Ours was gorgeous. We took it out together. He held the kite while I kept the tail and string out of the puddles. From the top of our favorite hill, the spring wind took the kite from our hands and bore it up. No running for us. We offered the kite to the wind. If accepted, it flew. If not, we waited. Up so high at the end of the long string, our funny paper kite made a brave pink splotch against the blue prairie sky. For a long time, Grandpa made me believe he could still read Terry and the Pirates from the ground. I finally got wise to that one. As our kite soared ever higher and higher, we took turns holding the string and pulling the kite through its tricks. A skinny little boy, a smiling old man, and yesterday's newspapers. Memories of those simple spring days still make me soar, and that's how Grandpa and I made the funnies fly. And then when it's a nice windy day and you need to relax and go do something, go fly a kite. Now, I have one quick announcement. I still have two veterans pictures, Harry Shack and Ken Wunder. You see me over at the table. If you know who they are, I do still have two pictures. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally. Sally, don't go anywhere. Folks, Sally and Dennis wave, they are moving to Virginia, but only for a little while, I'm told. Maybe, hopefully, a few months. So they said they're still going to continue to help the Berks County Patriots. So we're glad to hear that. I just want to give a big thank you for all the help they've been throughout the years. True patriots, and we certainly don't want them to go too far and come back to Pennsylvania. Let's give a big thank you for Sally and Dennis. Dennis, thank you both very much. Thank you. Okay, up next, folks, is a person I like to call my friend. It's Dean Klopp with the Pennsylvania Liberty Alliance. Dean, Linda, and I, and many others spent several years traveling throughout Pennsylvania, knocking on doors, having town halls, trying to eliminate school property taxes. And folks, we came very close. We came within one vote in the Senate, and it would have passed if we wouldn't have had turncoats at the last minute. Dean, I just want to tell you, it was really, really a pleasure working with you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, all the time, effort, and money this man put into this cause. It's sort of on hold right now, but it's always on his back burner. So we'll make sure that we pick that up a little bit. Now, moving on. Folks, if we want to make a change, if you want to make a change, we need to know how the political system works. Dean is here tonight. He's going to explain to us a little bit about a program he put together. It's a conservative boot camp, activist boot camp, I believe it is. Is that correct, Dean? Okay. Folks, let's all welcome Dean Klopp. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm fired up tonight. How about you? There's a lot of work to do, folks. Let's get busy. Hello, I'm Dean Klopp, co-founder of Pennsylvania Liberty Alliance. You know us from the fight, like Sam just said, with property taxes to end school property taxes. And you guys were a big part of that. We actually got 2 votes in the Senate, one in Finance Committee, which no one thought we could pass, and we got another one on the floor. No one said it could be done. And as Sam alluded, without the turncoats, we would have actually passed the bill, at least out of the Senate. We saw Republican Senate Majority Leader and the establishment rig the second floor vote by pulling off support of key individual sponsors like Tomlinson, Kim Ward, Tom McGarrigle at the last minute, which gave us a tie vote and we lost. You folks came out and helped us drive all over the state, knocked on 100,000 doors. You helped us remove Rob Us Blind templates. Amen?
Amen.
And we replaced it with our candidate, John DeSanto, who is now ready to introduce a constitutional amendment to end school taxes. That's exciting stuff. We're also expecting a companion bill in the House. Let's not forget about this fight. And Carol, God bless Carol Gardecki. You know, God works in mysterious ways. And had it not been for the one day Carol decided to come out door knocking with us, that was the day she said, Dean, are we going to Rob Temple's house? And I said, Carol, you want to go to Rob Temple's house? She says, yeah. And it was the perfect day. And the stars aligned. God was at work. This was divine providence. That day, knocking on his door turned that whole campaign around. He wasn't at home, but when he got home, he went ballistic and he tried to have us all arrested. He had the Attorney General call and threaten me, the Norfolk County Attorney General call and threaten me. The Senate Majority Leader Jay Costa wrote me a nasty gram threatening me never to come to Rob's neighborhood again. This isn't even in my notes. But because of Carol's decision to come out and help, you never know what's going to make the difference. But folks, that became headline news. And that totally changed the whole rhetoric. We, from that day forward, controlled the narrative of that campaign that year. Thank you, Carol. You then helped us, let's give her a round of applause. Because I know she wasn't well. I know Carol was not well that day. You guys then helped us remove Two-Face Tom McGarrigle from the Pennsylvania Senate as we canvassed Delaware County for over 20 Saturdays, 4 town hall meetings, dozens of full-page ads, and thousands of mailers. We played by their rules, and they, the establishment, kicked us to the curb, and we fought back. Since then, we've taken a three-pronged approach to fight for our liberties. Property tax elimination, gun rights. We formed the organization PA Gun Owners. Check us out on Facebook. We have over 12,000 followers there. We're specifically pursuing constitutional carry. Why? Because criminals don't have a license to carry. Why do we need one? Okay? Please sign our petition. That's also in the back. It's on our Facebook page. And now, what's more pressing than election integrity? Pennsylvania Liberty Alliance has now formed a PAC, a political action committee, to become even more effective in elections. And we brought back the conservative political activist boot camp that Sam just mentioned. We actually still have some spots open this Saturday in Bethel at the Midway Diner. We have another class April 24th in State College, and another one May 22nd, also in Bethel, and then we'll have other ones sporadically throughout the state. So what does this boot camp do for you that I'm encouraging you to come out and spend $40 on a Saturday for, besides getting lunch? The price is guaranteed. I always guarantee it. If someone tells me they didn't get what they wanted out of it, I'll give you your money back. It's not a problem. But this boot camp will give you a true understanding of how the political system works, how you can impact it, tools that you can use immediately to hold politicians' feet to the fire, tried and true tactics used by professional political operatives, and connections with other conservative activists across the state. Folks, it's well worth every penny. But what is politics? Well, Webster's Dictionary says it's the set of activities associated with making decisions in groups and other forms of power relations between individuals, such as resources or status. What do you think it is? I think it's the adjudication of power. Who controls who? Does Harrisburg control you guys, or do you control Harrisburg? You know the answer, and you know that's what the problem is right now. That's what this class will teach you, folks, how to take control back. Who controls the narrative? You know, you look around the world, some people do it by force. You look at South Africa. I never want to hear that Nelson Mandela was a hero. Him and his wife are responsible for 30,000 people being burned to death. That was their politics. That's how they got done what they wanted to have done. Now, thank God we're not there in this country. But we do see people get payoffs. We do see the bribes. We do see the campaign contributions. And I can give you 40,000 reasons why our Speaker of the House, Brian Cutler, did not hold a trial and hearing for Donald Trump last fall. I can give you 40,000 reasons why Jay Corbin didn't hold a hearing for Donald Trump last fall. It's been over 4 months since the 2020 election debacle took place, which many believe disenfranchised 74 million Americans. What do you guys think? Would it be reasonable to think that our elected representatives in Pennsylvania would have corrected, or at least begun to correct, all these problems after 4 months? So what has the Republican state-run legislature been up to the last 4 months? Well, let's take a look. Hearings. We're going to hold hearings. 14 hearings in the House and the Senate. This sounds like the legislature is doing a lot of investigating what happened in the 2020 election debacle and voter fraud bonanza. At first glance, it appears that something is being done. But don't let them fool you. Hearings are what politicians do with issues that they're too afraid of to address. It allows them to tell constituents that the issue is out of their hands and indemnifies them actually doing anything to address it. It's a dog and pony show. They sign on to court cases, they pass resolutions, but is this what you elected them for? Is this representing you? This is not even the bare minimum of what we would expect from elected representatives. It's a smoke screen. Has your representative introduced any bills that would eliminate universal mail-in voting or crack down on ballot harvesting? How about cleaning up the voter rolls? All the dead people. How about some sort of voter ID bill? Repealing Act 77. Who's with me? Who wants to repeal universal mail-in voting? Why are we doing it? We don't need a hearing for that. It seems to me that most, if not all, state reps and senators are following the leadership of their party instead of representing their constituents to ensure their vote has meaning. This is what we send representatives and senators to do, to represent us. Not pretend they're doing something and then fold to the pressure of the corrupt Harrisburg Beltway, or as Donald Trump aptly named them, the swamp. I have to ask you, do you need 14 hearings to know that we need universal voting removed? Where are the audits? Has the state legislature passed any legislation that orders audits of the 2020 election? Would you need over 4 months to determine whether or not there should be an audit? Apparently the Harrisburg establishment wants nothing to do with audits. These are the tactics of embedded establishment politicians that want you to think they're doing something, all while they keep a system in place that protects their positions in office and all the perks they gave themselves. They do not want outsiders. I'd say it's past time for hearings and resolutions. We should have had action by now. These phony actors need to hear from you. They need to know that this is unacceptable. Call your state rep today, your senator, every day until they're tired of hearing from you. And tell them to skip the cocktail party and get to work voting on bills to change the unsecured election system that they gave to us. Please sign our petition. It's going around the room. It's at the back table. There's power in numbers. Just a few dozen phone calls can make a difference the day they're voting on something. You guys got to do it. It needs to end now. Or the citizens, us, will soon have no other place to go, very few options of recourse or redress for our grievances. Look, this is a mighty fine organization. I'm proud to be a Berks County patron. And folks, volunteer here. Do what they're offering you to do. But if you still have some time and money left over, I'm asking you to help us as well. Circulate a petition. It doesn't cost you anything. Get trained. Come to one of our classes. Donate and volunteer. If not here, somewhere. It's time. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you very much. Dean Klopp, folks, Pennsylvania Liberty Alliance, please stop by his table and talk to him if you would. We're going to do the gun raffle right now. Steve?
Okay, this is for the Springfield Armory XD 9mm. Annie, you had volunteered earlier to draw a ticket for me. Where are you? Here you are. Came all the way from where tonight to come to this meeting? Lehigh Valley Tea Party. She's a member there in the 912 Project, and this is her Berks County Patriots meeting. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it. All right, so I know Annie didn't buy one, so she's going to reach in and grab a ticket. Hopefully the winner's here. The last 4 firearms, the winner was here at the meeting. Thank you, Annie. Thank you. Wow. The number is 001. David Vollmer. David here? To another one? No, I can't do that. 001. David here? David? Is that you, David? No? Okay. We'll make sure that we call this gentleman that broke the streak of people being here. Also, John Shepard. John Shepard, are you here? Raise your hand if you're here. John is in the back of the room. He's from the Hamper Gun Exchange. And he handles all the firearm transfers for the Berks County Patriots. And he's really treated us well. And he treats all the winners of our firearms very well. So I wanted to recognize Mr. Shepard from the Gun Exchange. Thank you, John. Do a great job. And we have the tickets for the Smith & Wesson Airweight Revolver. We still have pretty many left. If you'd like to get some, grab them now. This is how we keep this venue open. Thanks, folks.
Thank you, Steve. And folks, thank you for the support that you're doing by doing the raffles and so forth. We really appreciate that. Up next is Rebecca Esold. She's going to be introducing our next speaker. Rebecca?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here tonight. Doesn't it feel good to be in a room with 366 other patriots? So the gentleman that's going to talk to you now, he's just like you and I. He's a proud American. He's a good patriot. He's a BCP member. And he's just going to simply talk to you about how he goes about his day-to-day life, talking to his 4 daughters, talking to his customers as he's driving a propane truck. Not so much while he's farming, because there's not too many people to talk to there, but when he's in the beer distributor, he's just going to share with you tonight how he truly takes all of the passion and belief and excitement that we feel in this room, and he allows it to integrate into every aspect of his life. And so I've been very blessed to get to know Randy over the last few weeks, and I think that you guys are going to be blessed by his words tonight. He did want me to clarify, his name is Randy Wolf, no relation to the dictator. So please don't hold that against him, okay? So.
Good evening, my fellow patriots. I am proud to stand up here in front of all of you tonight, but we are faced with something so sinister and so out of control that it is hard to comprehend. Now, some of you may be looking at me like you've seen me somewhere before. I'm a regular fixture at the Leesport Farmers Market craft shows. I'm known as the Old Gray Wolf. I'm the guy that carves the reindeer out of logs and things like that. I'm always there. You may have taken the seat off the rack, but you're only going to need the edge of it tonight. I'm not a sugar-coated Christian, but I am a Christian. I will tell you how it is. I'm the guy that sees the pink elephant in the corner of the room and goes over and pokes it to see what kind of crap comes out of it. There's only 2 ways tonight's going to end. You're going to either throw me out that door, or you'll be standing up chanting USA. I call it like I see it, and I see it like I call it. The moral compass of this country is broken. It is broken. Where people are shooting police in the streets like dogs, burning cities down, tearing statues down. We've gotten so far away from the Word of God, we are now reaping what we have sown. And it's the truth. The television is turning our children against everything. There's no denying it. When I was a kid growing up in the 70s, my parents and my grandparents told me, you better turn that off. Turn it off. You're too much. The best advice I ever got. I got a little taste of what the kids are getting when I coached my daughter's middle school basketball team. I went to a coaches meeting before the season started. I'd never coached basketball. I couldn't tell you what a guard or a forward was. I knew what a center was. It's pretty easy. But the head guy running the meeting said, if you came here to have an undefeated season, you're in the wrong place. Just get them to like the game. It doesn't matter if they win or not. Well, that didn't sit well with me. It really ticked me off. And all the parents that came there and brought their kids, they paid $140-some for their kids to play basketball. I worked with those kids. I only had 4 that had ever played before. But I saw what they were trying to do to these kids. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Well, guess what? I was the first coach in Holy Youth League history to take a middle school basketball team to an undefeated season. Because I've worked with every one of those kids. I gave every one of them a chance, and I showed them that it matters to win. Americans play to win, always. We don't lose, we don't laugh about it. We play to win. What our kids are seeing on television, they take it as the gospel, because the TV's never lied to them. When they were watching Barney didn't lie to them. The TV always tells them the truth. And that's what's happening. They're believing everything they're seeing. I was flipping, I'm going to try to tell you this and stay calm, because when I saw this, I went through my roof and then almost went through my television. I was flipping down through the channels and landed on Newsmax. And the host said, "Get a load of what Bill Maher said." And you can look it up tonight on YouTube. Type in Bill Maher, Patriot Party. Bill Maher turned to his guest and said, "Well, what do you think Trump's going to do with this Patriot Party that he's forming? What are these patriots?" And the other guests, they didn't really know what to say. So Bill Maher thinks he's going to be wise, and he says, "When I hear that word patriot," and if I'm lying to you folks, I'll be dead in 5 seconds. He said, "When I hear that word patriot, I think of Nazis." That is what Bill Maher said. And then he added, "But not the kind of Nazis that killed Jews, more like brown shirty Nazis." Our children hear this stuff. Now, I don't know about you, but I only know one kind of Nazi. There only is one kind. And you kids in the room, you look to your left and you look to your right at the faces, the careworn faces in this room. There's no Nazis in this house. These are patriots. These are Americans. We are the good guys, and don't you doubt it, and don't you forget it. Bill Maher should be run out on a rail. We need to talk to our kids. We need to communicate. We need to ask them how they feel about these things. Get their point of view and be prepared to answer their questions. Because, folks, I hate to tell you this, none of us are going to live to see this fixed. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I'm not going to live to see it fixed. I'm 52 years old. I was born in 1968, up until then the most violent year in the United States history. I'm going to be gone before this gets back to right. I was there for the bicentennial. I saw the American Freedom Train go by. I shook hands with World War I veterans, World War II veterans, Korean War, Vietnam War veterans, when I was a little kid. Why don't we have those parades anymore? The kids don't hear that music anymore. We don't do it anymore. Why? The whole generation is being brainwashed. You have to talk to your children. The kids that are going to save this country, that our founding fathers spilled their blood on this soil to create, aren't even born yet, or they're in diapers. My daughter's sitting right over here, 14 years old. She's going to have a child that's going to save this country. She'll be in her 70s when the tricentennial comes around. We got to do it. You want a war? You want to fight? You want to sting a battle? Talk to your kids. That's all the fight you'd ever want to have. Believe me, I got 4 girls. I got to see my 2 oldest daughters vote for the first time. And my people had given me flack for always talking politics to them from when they were just barely walking about the right and the wrong. But I got to see them vote for the first time, and they voted for Donald Trump. Tears were rolling down my And I'm sure you've all heard this phrase, you strike when the iron's hot, right? Well, my grandfather used to tell me, you don't strike when the iron's hot. You make the iron hot for striking. We have to get our kids in line with the right way of thinking and get their morals on track. We need to recruit more people. We need to get more people into this place. I would like to put a challenge out. Everybody here should go home, and by the next meeting, invite 10, 15, or 20 people. I drive a propane truck in the wintertime as a part-time job. I go up to people's houses to have the Trump sign or a flag on their house, and I hand them a Patriot flyer. I'm not even delivering them. I'll hand them a flyer, I'll knock on the door and ask them, hey, I like your sign. You want to do something about it? Come. Come and see for yourself. I have brought many people here, and you can do it too. Take the flyers. There's tons of them over there. Take them with you. When you're at the gas pump and someone's griping about the $3 a gallon gas we have to pay now, hand them a flyer. Bring them. Everybody can bring people here. The more we have, the better. The other thing you can all do is you can pray. And folks, I'm telling you right now, prayer works. It works. I will try to get through this. I lost my job 10 years ago because of the economy when Obama was in. And I had to take a job driving a trash truck. I won't say what company. And you worked You had to work 12-hour days for a set pay, touching the most disgusting stuff no one ever wants to touch. I was a driver. And I remember when I was being trained, we had to go into the bottom of this hotel where the chutes come down into the dumpsters. And I knew this was my second week. And I looked up on the wall, and there was a picture of Jesus. That famous picture where his hands are folded, and it's sort of brown in the background. You've all seen it. It's that real famous one. And it was hanging on the wall, and there was a crack through the frame. Someone had thrown it down the chute. And I looked at that, and I was losing my house because of the pay was no good. I had to take money out of my children's bank accounts to pay my mortgage. Their Christmas money. I looked at that picture and I asked Jesus, I just looked at him, I said, can you get me out of here? I'll do what it takes, just get me out of here so I can get somewhere better. I was there for 6 months. And one day my wife called me and said, I got you an application for this fertilizer company. I said, I don't know anything about that. She said, well, fill it out and take it over. So we did. I met the boss. He put a little star on my application. And I got a call a couple days later. Went in and met with him. And after talking to him for 5 minutes, I felt like I knew him for like years. He said, think about it. And my wife and I talked about it. I didn't want to, I said, I can't do this. This is going to be too tough. I don't know anything about farming. You know? And then she said to me, put it in God's hands. You ask for help. He's handing it to you. Take it. I've been there 11 years now. I love my job. In fact, one of the farmers sitting right over here that I work for. Prayer works. Believe me, pray every night. God hears you. God is not going to abandon the United States of America. God has this. We have to have faith. Good always prevails over evil. We just have to do the legwork. He's giving us the answers. We have to use them. We need to band together, and we also need to reach out to the other side. Those people are Americans also. They're misguided. They've forgotten what America really is. We don't exclude. We're all in this together. We're all countrymen. Our founding fathers put this together for all of us. I can remember what it was like when we were all living together in peace and harmony. I have a feeling that the socialist left is trying to divide us, to control us. I heard Cambridge is having 6 different graduations by different races and creeds and genders. Well, that sounds like segregation to me. And isn't the Democratic Party the segregational party? We can't allow that. We're all together. We're all together. So in closing tonight, folks, I'd like to see everybody bring someone. Bring a bunch of people next month. You have 30 days. Let's pull those rafters out. Okay? And pray. Please pray. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Thank you very much. 2 quick announcements, and then we're going to have our main speaker, someone who signed a Convention of State form, Thomas. What's that? Thomas? Okay, there we go. If you want to stop back at the table there and sign the form. Also, one other thing. I mentioned about the dinner that the Republican Party was having. I just want to let you know, I was told that Doug Mastrano is going to be at that particular dinner. If anyone would be interested in knowing that, that'd be great. Okay, Linda, you're up.
Folks, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Bobby Lawrence. Many of you have already read his bio on our flyer, so I'm not going to go through that. What?
Test. I want to make sure we're good.
Okay. Bobby is an ardent defender of our Constitution. He was here with us several years ago, I believe, 2 years ago. And very well received by our audience. And frankly, we'd like to clone him so we can pass him out all over the country and have him speak, because I think you're really going to enjoy what he has to say. Without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Bobby Lawrence.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody hear me okay? Is that good? People in the back, can you hear me? All right, thank you very much. Now, I think we're getting a little bit of feedback to these other mics. If you can kill these other mics. Feedback? Okay.
What's going on? There you go. Now you're talking, now you're talking. Okay, test, test, test. I have a little different opinion about the future of our country. I think the best is yet to come, as President Trump has said. And I'm going to share a little bit with you about what he has done that hasn't been made public yet, what I'm allowed to share with you. And believe me, when President Donald Trump says the best is yet to come, he means it. He means it. I know. How many of you have followed the First Lady on social media, on Twitter? Anybody? Well, when Donald Trump had the event out at Mount Rushmore just last year, all the fireworks, Melania Trump put a tweet out. And she was proud that our nation was celebrating its independence. And she was going to be returning with POTUS to the White House later that evening. And Donald Trump was going to be signing the Declaration of Independence. Ladies and gentlemen, President Donald Trump, and there was 50 copies of it delivered to every governor in the country. Now that's all I'm going to tell you about it. I had the preamble read to me over the phone, and it is powerful, it is moving, and it will reset this country back on the right track, believe me. There are 30 grievances that are listed on that document. I had the first two read to me, and they are powerful. They are a history lesson. How many of you think our government is broken? How many of you think that we need to have free and fair elections where we elect elections on one day? And there's voter ID. And we know the winner by the end of that evening. That there's a paper ballot so we know we can count it. We need that, correct? Who's with me? Who owns the Constitution of the United States of America? Who owns it? Who owns it? We the people. The three largest words on the Constitution. You've all seen a picture of it, right? Come on, anybody in the room? Have you all seen a picture of the Constitution? The three biggest words on the page are "we the people." That's a contract. It's called a compact, a contract between the people of this country and the states to create a federal government. All right? Now, we've been given tools by the founders to we the people to fix this country when it goes off track. How many of you really, truly down deep in your soul think that the founders would have toiled and paid such a high price, blood and treasure, to leave us with a government that we the people cannot control and fix when it goes off the rails? Do you think that those brilliant gentlemen and those women who supported them would have left us with a document that we didn't know how, that we could not enforce? Makes no sense, does it? I'm going to peel back the onion tonight, and I'm going to show you that for the last 150 years, we've been lied to. And it's been a slow progress to usurp our liberty and our freedom by undermining the greatest document in the history of man, set aside the Bible, that was ever created. And there's a process that I've been made aware of that we can go through so we can take proper dominion over government. So, who owns the Constitution? We do. I want to hear you say it. Who owns the Constitution? We do. All right, very good. So what are the tools? Well, let's first look at the Declaration of Independence. Now, you know there are four basic documents that is in the preamble to the U.S. Federal Code. They were the basis of all law. It's called the organic laws of the country. And those four documents are the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution with the first 12 amendments, the Articles of Confederation, and the Northwest Compact. Those 4 documents are our supreme law of the land. All right? So, what I'm going to talk about tonight is law, and there's a difference between lawful and legal. Lawful is God's law. Legal is a construct of man. So let's talk about how we can take dominion. Let's read those beautiful words. We're going to scroll down here first. There's something down here. It's called the First Amendment. Okay? The First Amendment is in our Bill of Rights. That's the process. Now, I want you to go back in time with me and think about when the founders, 2 years before the Declaration of Independence, think about when they were toiling and arguing with the king. There was a process that they used to get to the point where they actually penned the Declaration of Independence. And here's a little fact. The Declaration of Independence was not the document that separated the 13 colonies from Great Britain. We celebrated on the 4th of July, but that's not actually when we became free from Great Britain. There was a document called the Lee Resolution, and it happened on the 2nd, 2 days prior to the Declaration of Independence. And if you Google it, look it up, it looks like it's on a napkin, and it's hand scribbled. It's that simple. You see, the Bar Association, politicians, lawyers, and judges, they want to talk about algebra and make things really complicated. And the founding of our country was 1 + 1 = 2. And we learned in this last election that the left, the communists, they don't want us to know that 1 + 1 = 2. Do they? So let's talk about the basics. Let's talk about the foundation. You know, if you have a house, I'm a builder by trade. There are 3 major components to a building. If one fails, the other 2 will fall. If one of the other 2 fails, the one will always remain. What is that one component? The foundation. Foundation of knowledge and understanding. Everything is built upon the foundation. And the knowledge and understanding is so very, very, very important. So there are 5 liberties. 5 liberties in the First Amendment. And that is clearly spelled out for us. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. This is how we fix. This is the process they left us. The Second Amendment is the Second Amendment for a reason. The power of the First Amendment was bought and paid for by men and women who signed that document, knowing that they could be drawn and quartered, they could be hung for treason, they were going to lose their farms. They were going to war. They knew this. So look at this. This is the process. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people to peaceably assemble and petition for a grievance for redress of their grievances. So those are 5 liberties, and they're in that order for a specific reason. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. The patriots, the founding generation, they would go to church and they would practice their religion, and then they would have the conversations afterwards. And they talk about events of the day. How the king was usurping them, how he was taxing them, how he was putting liens on their lands and their freedoms. And that was what happened afterwards. That was the freedom of speech. So it came along with practicing their religion right after, because they met in the churches and they met in the pubs. Only 2 places back then. Was a church or a pub. What's under attack right now with this mask stuff? Church and restaurants. Is it not? They don't want us to meet, practice our religion. They don't want us to meet and talk about things. Because we find out we all think pretty much the same, that it's all a bunch of bullcrap. Okay, so then we talk about freedom of the press. So they would write something up and they would write to their friends. The next province over, and they would say, hey, is this what's happening in your area? Sure it was. So then they decided that they need to peaceably assemble. And the words are important. When you look up words in the Constitution, don't look up today's meaning. You have to find a Black's Law dictionary from the time period. You have to find a Bible from that time period and understand how those words were used and what they meant back in 1776, not what they mean today. So what did assemble mean? Assemble meant was a colonial meeting of freeholders, planters, meaning landowners, and free people. And they would meet to discuss events of the day. And that's what an assembly is. It's not a rally. It's not a protest. It is an organized assembly of we the people. And then they would form a petition. What did the word petition mean in 1776? A petition could be in the form of a war rant. It could be in the form of any document. It was a document that was created by the assembly. They would create the petition for a redress of grievances. They would list the grievances. Now, what did redress mean in 1776? The farmer would go out, do his cabbage, he'd come in, ready for dinner, and the wife would look at him and say, oh, no, not on our table, you're not. You must redress for dinner. Go take off the dirty clothes, wash your hands and face, and then you present yourself for the evening meal. That was a redress. Not distress. We're not in distress. We're not asking permission. We demand a redress, which means that they fix it. Okay? The grievances. We talk about grievances. We talk about the election as a grievance. The legislatures don't listen to us as a grievance. They didn't follow the Constitution. That's a grievance. Let's just take, there's 4 elements why Pennsylvania's election failed. The biggest one is fraud, but the politicians won't admit that because fraud vitiates everything. United States versus Morton Throck in 1872. Fraud vitiates everything. Means it throws it out. And everything starts over. And there's no statute of limitations on fraud. They don't want to talk about that. So let's just throw that out the window. There was no fraud. There's 3 other reasons. We have judicial interference by the Supreme Court altering what the legislature passed. We have administrative malfeasance, which was the Secretary of State not following what the Supreme Court told her to do. And we had Governor Wolf not following the laws. It was passed by the legislature. Under the Constitution, Article 2, Section 1, Paragraph 2, the state legislature shall appoint the electors in a manner that they prescribe, roughly speaking. I don't have that committed to memory right now. But it's up to the state legislature. It doesn't ask for permission from the governor. The state legislature, based on the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in the late 1800s, McPherson v. Blacker, the state legislature is what's called plenary powers. They have plenary powers, which means they can do whatever they want with those electors, whenever they want. So when you've got these politicians saying, oh, we can't do anything because of the state law. The supreme law of the land is the U.S. Constitution. What are the 4? The U.S. Constitution, Declaration of Independence, Articles of Federation, and Northwest Compact. So, we have dominion over government. What gives us the right to have dominion over government? Does anybody know that? What gave these patriots, what gave them the right to say that we, the people, have dominion over government based on what? Based on what? natural law. See, these words is very powerful. It says, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another, and to assume among them the powers of the earth, the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. Now, I'm not here to preach to you. I'm talking about what the law is. You don't have to believe in the Lord. You don't have to believe in God's law, but you are the beneficiary of it nonetheless. Remember, what I'm reading to you is the basis for all laws in the United States. Organic laws, U.S. Code. They've erased it. They have to find an older version, pre-1970s, to find that, because they've omitted it from the record today. You can still find it if you know how to look for it online, but they hide it from us. Politicians do that. The U.S. Code, they put a little bit over here, then they hide a little bit over here, then they hide a little bit over here, because they don't want us to know the truth. How many of you feel like there is two systems of law? How many of you feel that politicians are never held accountable? Hillary Clinton never got locked up. James Comey never got locked up. These politicians don't ever get locked up. Why is that? I'm going to tell you why. You're not crazy, because there are two systems of justice. Now I'm going to explain all that to you. There's a corporation of the United States. How many of you have heard about the corporation of the United States? That's different than the Constitution of the United States of America. So I'm going to talk about how we the people can take dominion over government based on what is law. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable. We mispronounced that word. Remember, words mean something. 1776, what do they mean? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, meaning mankind, are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Remember, they're talking to the King of England. The king would have to go on the water from England, then go back on the land, and tax someone and lien their property and throw them off of it, attach their body, their vessel. They threw it off. You cannot lien these. No government can lien them. They can't take them away from them. It can't legally be liened. Remember, legal is different than lawful. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, mankind, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them, meaning us, shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Now, prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. And accordingly, all experience has shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by accomplishing the forms to which they have become accustomed to. Is that us today? Is that us today? But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, but whenever a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces, meaning evidences itself, presents itself as fact, a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, It is their right, comma, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards. As for their future security, such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies. I want you to watch this. Sufferance of these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. They talk about the history of the present. The King of Britain has a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having a direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. See that? States. States. They went from colonies, in one sentence, they went from colonies to states. A state is a sovereign. To provide this, let the facts be submitted to a candid world. And then he lists all the grievances. And then this sentence right here, ladies and gentlemen, they knew. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and their sacred honor. And 56 men autographed that document. A good part of those 56 men had their farms burned to the ground, had their families killed, were hung, their fortunes taken from them, their children taken from them, sold into slavery. They believed those words that I read to you so deeply that they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. Do we believe those words? Do we believe those words that all mankind is created equal? That we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights and government can't take them from us? Do we believe that? How do we take it back? We can take it back beginning right now by telling them no. So here, I'm going to show you how to do that. Now here's a big word right here. Words mean things. 56 men autographed it. You know there's a difference between an autograph and a signature. Signature. Signing away your nature's law. Signature. Autograph. You are autographing it. You're authorizing it with a graphic, which happens to be in the form of your name. There's a difference between autograph and signature. You know, when researching the word signature, you have to go back in time. In the 1600s in Scotland, a signature was what the farmers would put on their sheep. They would signature the sheep. I'm not making this up, you can Google it. I have a Telegram channel on Telegram, the social media app, and some of the folks in the room are here because of that Telegram channel. They found out about this event and they're here. Right now, in this room. So I post what I'm telling you, the links to this stuff, the research to what I'm telling you is all true. Don't sign anything. Autograph it, and then when you autograph it, next to your autograph, you put without prejudice. Because that means you're not giving up any of your rights as a living soul. Okay, so from our Constitution, the three biggest words, we the people. It's a simple contract. There are 8 elements of a contract for the contract to be lawful and legal. The overriding authority is we the people. We are doing this of the United States in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. The United States of America is the de jure, which means proper and right under nature's law. De facto is devoid of God's law. De facto is the stuff that man made up, that is legal. De jure is God's law, nature's law. The de jure government is the United States of America. The de facto from 1871 is the United States. All capital letters. It's called the Chicago style of legal writing. On your birth certificate, how many of you have a recent copy of your birth certificate? If you ever looked at the birth certificate, have you ever noticed that it's in all capital letters? You're a vessel to the corporation of the United States. We're in a battle for good and evil. We're not in a battle of left and right. We're in a battle over good and evil. Now, some of you may not believe me. It's fine. It's hard to believe, isn't it? Okay? If you doubt me, go to my Telegram channel. Those folks that are here from my Telegram channel have read these things, and they've researched these things, and they've spent the last 2 months, oh my heavens, this guy's not crazy. Okay? I post all these facts on my Telegram channel. Bobby Barnes, 1776 reignited, if you want to look it up. Or my Facebook profile. Okay, so the United States of America. So I think I can go on to the First Amendment. Yep, now that's all. I'm done with that. All right, so we got a basic foundation. Now here's the challenge. We can have an assembly of we the people. We can formally generate a petition of a list of grievances, and we can serve it by a local sheriff or a constable to the branch of government that is misbehaving, and we demand a redress of those grievances. If they choose not to do those redress, set it right, then we have the authority to ignore those laws. Now, I want to lay something on you. We don't have the proper status. LaVoy Fincham found that out, and the Bundys found that out. And sovereign citizens find that out, and they wind up going to prison or getting shot. We don't have the proper status. Under the Constitution of the United States of America, the United States of America is only supposed to have control over how many square miles? Folks, I'm going to be very pointed with you. All right? I'm telling you the truth. And it's going to be painful. We can fix this country. And I'm going to tell you right now. We, the people, know nothing about the documents that keep us free, men and women. If I were to ask you what the 5 liberties are in the First Amendment and what order they are in, how many of you can answer that question? Don't feel bad, because nobody ever does. I have judges and attorneys and all kinds of politicians that cannot list them. And they're making laws that run afoul of them every day. And we don't know how to keep our employees in check. See, they're our employees. We elect our employees. We do not elect leaders. They are our employees. And we have to hold them accountable based on what documents? Based on what documents? The Constitution? Well, the Bill of Rights is part of the Constitution. The Declaration of Independence. The Federalist Papers is an explanation of the Constitution. I'm going to say it again. There's 4 documents. Northwest Compact. The Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution with the first 12 amendments, the Articles of Confederation, We don't know. I'm here to wake you up. The things that President Donald Trump has done are going to be revealed very soon. He is the greatest president. I studied him. I read what they wrote to their wives, the founders, the presidents. I do this as my hobby. That and shooting guns. I like to punch holes in paper at extremely long distances. I've gotten pretty good at it. So here, we have to correct our status because we've been checking off documents all our life that we are citizens of the United States. We're not citizens of the United States. The 14th Amendment destroyed that. We're not a person. The legal definition of a person is a corporation, a dead person, an actor for the corporation, for the benefit of the corporation. That's a person. We're operating under maritime law. There are three jurists. I saw there was somebody running for judge. I'd love to have their input on this. Jurisdiction. Juris is the area of the law. Diction is the words you use to describe it. There's the law of the water, there's the law of the land, and there's the law of the air. That's the juris. The diction is the words you use to describe it. The word person comes from the maritime law, which we operate under. Maritime law, person is a purser. A purser is responsible for paying all the bills. Look up the definition of the word person in the U.S. Code. It will shock you. Look up the definition of the word resident in the U.S. Code. It will shock you. There's a difference. Words mean things. Now, I'll just lay this down to you. What's the difference between operating a motor vehicle and traveling in your private automobile? Big difference. Traveling in your private automobile is protected under the Constitution. Operating a motor vehicle is not. You've agreed to the corporate bylaws of the United States and all of its subsidiaries, which is Pennsylvania, which is the county of Berks, and the town of Hamburg, and they're all incorporated. All of them. Why are they incorporated? They're incorporated so that the public officials can't be held liable for what they do. A corporate veil. I'll give you another big one. The Bar Association. How many of you have heard of the Bar Association? The Bar Association stands for the British Accreditation Registry. It's owned by the Crown Inc. It's a foreign corporation. How many of you knew that? So we have an attorney. There's a difference between an attorney and a lawyer. A lawyer is a law sayer. An attorney is an actor to attorn. We have two court systems. We have a circuit court, de jure. We have a district court, de facto. Politicians don't get locked up for breaking corporate laws because they're not a party to it. They've thrown off the corporation. And I'm not talking about becoming a sovereign citizen. You can't be a sovereign under the Constitution and a citizen under the 14th Amendment and the Congressional Act of 1871. You can't be a citizen. They changed the word citizen. City and zen. City and zen. City, we all know what the word city means. Zen is a servant. Citizen, if you look up the word citizen, it means you have specific liberties which the government allows, and you have specific duties to the city, or the municipality, or the corporation. A free man and woman only has one duty: to live free. That's it. Folks, we're not crazy. Government's out of control because they've been working on doing it for over 150 years. 150 years. So we have to correct our status, and that's a process called an American state national. It's legal. It's not a sovereign citizen. I'll give you an example of how powerful it is. When you get your passport, after you've repudiated your citizenship in the corporation, and you get your passport from the State Department of the United States of America, it says on the front of that document, it says, do not detain, do not interrogate. And then the next sentence says that you have a right to bear arms in all 50 states and conceal them if necessary. All these laws against handguns don't apply anymore because the corporation is passing them. You see, in the 20s, I think it was 29, Congress passed legislation to limit the number of representatives, which is going afoul of the Constitution of the United States. They were originally thought to have 30,000 people and one House of Representative members. There's a difference. There's a reason we have a bicameral system. We have a House and we have a Senate. Each state gets 2, and the number of representatives should equal represent 30,000 people. Well, Congress changed that in the 20s. They limited them to 435. They changed our Constitution without a constitutional amendment. So every law that they've passed since the late 1920s is unconstitutional, and we can ignore it when we throw off the corporation, and they can't do anything to us. Only if we agree to their corporation by checking we're a U.S. citizen, by signaturing every document they send to us, can we be held accountable to their corporate bylaws. Now, what President Trump has done that I can't share with you is he's made it easier for us to become American state nationals. He has essentially bankrupted the corporation, which is about the 5th or 6th time. Bill Clinton did it in 1999. President Trump signed bankruptcy for it. And remember, he tells us, if you watch the speeches General Flynn gives, Lynn Wood talks about this, Sidney Powell talks about this. Sidney Powell, we the people. Okay? President Trump says this, it's up to you. I've given you your country back. The rest is up to you. How many of you ever heard him say that? It's up to us, one individual at a time, to throw off the corporation. And what has happened to me is I've been recruited because I started this Telegram channel and I got real close to the truth. And somebody reached out to me and said, that's great what you're doing, you're on track, but you're going to get some people locked up. And here's what you got to do, you got to correct your status. So I had a 3-hour phone conversation that night at 11:30 at night, and boy did my world change. And a whole raft of stuff was laid out for me. And then I got a thumb drive mailed to me that was completely full. How many of you have ever had a thumb drive that's completely full? And it took me 3.5, 4 weeks to read it all. It had over 20 hours of video. And boy, did it change my world. And I'm telling you what, I'm going through the process of becoming an American state national, throwing off the corporation. I'm assuming for myself the powers of the earth, the powers of nature's law, the powers of God's law, under the founding documents. I'll give you another example. Ronald Reagan in 1982, you can Google this if you want to right now, pull your phone out. Public Law 97-280. Public Law 97-280. Ronald Reagan signed into public law that the Bible is public law. It did 1982. And it was passed almost unanimously by both Democrats and Republicans. It is public law. You don't have to believe in the Bible to be a beneficiary of it. And I can tell you folks, the more I dug, the more things made sense to me about why we're in the place that we're in, how we got here, the powers that are usurping our liberties and our freedom, and how we can throw them off by doing some paperwork. And it's going to take you about 6 or 8 months to learn it all, get your documents done, and at the end of it, there's a nice big surprise that President Trump's going to present to find the teachers for when he reveals it. When the reset happens, we need enough people that have gone through the process, that understand it, that can teach their neighbors, their families, and their friends how it all makes sense. How it all makes sense that we have this corporation. How many of you knew there was a corporation before tonight? How many of you didn't know there was a corporation before tonight? Please raise your hand if you know. There's so much, so much. How many of you can list the 5 liberties in the proper order in the First Amendment? It's okay. It's okay. But tonight you're going to read them, aren't you? Or to next week or something. Are you going to read them sometime this weekend? Are you going to commit them to memory? Yeah. Come on now. Are we going to take back our country or not? Yeah. I'm standing up here telling you how to do it. What's that? Big mouth. You're a big mouth. I have a big mouth because I'm passionate, sir. I see you're a veteran. God bless you. Did you believe in something when you signed that blank check for the government? Yes, sir, and I'm doing the same thing. I apologize if I'm too loud, but I believe in liberty and freedom. I believe your sacrifice and those that fell and gave the last full measure deserves to be honored and respected. I believe that you, sir, I want to shake your hand. God bless you and thank you for serving this great nation. I stand up here to honor you, to honor those patriots that gave their life to give us this nation. You, sir, signed a blank check for the government to send your ass wherever they wanted to and put you in harm's way wherever they felt they needed to. And that takes a special individual, does it not? I'm passionate. He will be back. That's a great question. What we can do is learn about our founding documents, do research, and find out about the founding of our nation. Because when we have this reset that's coming, people are going to be confused. People are going to wonder what's up. Now, you know what Vladimir Putin did to Russia just in the past month? Vladimir Putin did away with Russia's central bank. He took their fiat currency and threw it out the window and reset their currency to the gold standard. Vladimir Putin did that to Russia. There are about 10 other countries that are in the process of doing it right now. What do you think is going to happen when our fiat currency, see, there's money and there's currency. Real money, there's 2 of everything, folks. There's 2 of everything. We have the U.S. Mint, we have the Federal Reserve. The paper money is fake. It says a Federal Reserve note. It says legal tender. It's not money. Coinage, the U.S. Mint, uses precious metals that has a value. It's real money, gold and silver, precious metal. Paper currency, anything that backs it up, is the full faith and credit of the American people. Something called each and every one of you have something called a security trust. That's what backs up fiat currency. Yes?
They took out the precious metals and coins, what, 68 or something, and trying to enact?
They're not, the coins are not pure. They're not pure. They are still non-ferrous metals. Because you can leave one outside for a year, it doesn't rust. It's a non-ferrous metal. There's a lot of nickel in them, so they diluted them out. They diluted the precious metals. You can't get a all silver quarter anymore. Yes? No, sir, that's wrong. The gold standard, FDR did that to us. Franklin Delano Roosevelt took us off the gold standard, and they confiscated all the gold. That's what Franklin Delano Roosevelt did. He's talking about that, where we weren't allowed to own gold as people, as citizens under the 14th Amendment. We weren't allowed to own gold. That's not where we're going. Gold will back up the new currency in real money. Do you know that your bank account, when you set up your bank account, your checking account, there's a way when you fill out the signature card, there's a way that you can scribble in the law, the code, the U.S. code, that makes your bank use real money to pay your debts and not the fiat currency? There's so many things. This is so very detailed. There's so many things. Imagine what I'm doing right now is I'm upsetting a lot of years of what we thought was normal, but yet, on the other hand, we all know something's broken, don't we? Do we know something's broken? Yes. And here's the way it's always been done, and that's not working, is it? Is that working? If we keep doing what we've always done, is that going to keep working? No, it's not. So what's coming is something called NESIRA, which is the National Monetary Reset, and JSIRA, which is the Global Monetary Reset. This is coming. The new Declaration of Independence is coming. Yes? That's a very, very distinct possibility. That's a very distinct possibility. But who has the authority? Not an elected official. Remember, they're our servants. They're our employees. Does one of our employees, even though he's the president, does he have the authority to throw off government? That screen says we the people do, doesn't it? President Trump can't throw off the government, the corporation.
2 more questions, folks.
We the people have to do that. Yes. Is Bitcoin real money? It's another form of fiat currency, is it not? I like real money. 2 more questions. I got to get this fellow back here. Someone back here have a question? Yeah. Joe Biden is president of the corporation, as Donald Trump was the 45th president of the corporation. You see, even though President Trump bankrupted it, and Bill Clinton bankrupted it, and so did a few other presidents bankrupted the corporation, as long as we the people keep checking boxes that says that we are a U.S. citizen, and we keep agreeing to their corporate bylaws, it will continue to exist. As long as we keep funding it through our it's voluntary, our voluntary income tax that we pay. You know, Title 26, it says at the very beginning of Title 26, which is the IRS code, it says it's not to be construed as law. If you go look it up, it says right on there. The very beginning of Title 26, not to be construed as law. It's a corporation bylaw that you agree to voluntarily. Now, if you agree to it voluntarily, you have to abide by those laws, and that's why you get in trouble with the IRS when you file a 1040 and you file a W-4 and you don't keep up your end of the contract. Yeah. It is not public yet. It will be soon. How you can do that right now, that's a very good question. How you can do that right now, is this too controversial? We just run out of time.
One more question.
Okay. So how you can do this is, one second, your last one. You can go onto YouTube, and look for a gentleman, type in David Straight, like a straight line. David Straight. He's the gentleman that recruited me. David Straight. And there's a series on there that's put up. It's a series of 6 videos. They're about an hour and a half long. One of them is 3 hours long, and there's 6 of them. It's almost 20 hours of video that you can watch. David Straight. And he presents all this information. Myself and 2 other people are in the process of creating a website to talk about this. There's a website that will get you about 50% of the way there. It's called the American States Assembly.net. And they'll get you 50% of the way to being totally free from the corporation. Now, your last question. It is legal. Well, that's a big question. It's a deep subject. Remember, it took me a month to just get a grasp of this subject. Hang on a second. Oh, what was the question? I'm sorry. He said, how is it legal? How is the corporations legal? Well, now listen to this. 1666. Is that ironic or what? Remember, I told you it's good and evil. 1666 in Great Britain, it was called the Sister-Cuvee Act. The Sister-Cuvee Act of 1666. And it was the definition of life, corporations, sovereignty, all different things. Sister-Cuvee Act is 3 words. Yeah.
Real quick, what's your telegram?
Telegram is Bobby Lawrence, 1776.
Send it to me?
Yep. Reignited. Scroll to the top of the channel and do the work. If you start in the middle of the channel, nothing's going to make any sense. You got to go all the way to the top, watch the videos I posted, take the Constitution 101 course from Hillsdale College. That's another one you can look at is the Constitution from Hillsdale. It's a Constitution 101. And you can take that course. Now what I'm trying to do is, David has asked me to put together a 3-day event. Be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Sunday is a half day, where we educate folks that want to learn about this process. It's an introduction. It's 3 days, and it's an introduction. It doesn't cost anything. So if any of you would like to be part of that, we would like to have that event somewhere here in Pennsylvania. And I'm making myself available to coordinate that with anybody from the county or from Berks County. So that's about it. Unless anybody has any other questions for me, these folks want to go home.
Thank you, Bobby. Actually, Bobby, could you stay around for a few minutes first? Folks, we're going to wrap it up. But Bobby's going to be here. You can still talk with him if you like. It's been maybe 2 years since Bobby was here. I don't think we're going to wait that long to bring him back. Let's give him another big round of applause. Folks, just hold tight a minute. We're going to have a 50-50 raffle and closing prayer, please. Thank you.
Okay, this one working. It is working. Okay, all right, so 50-50 tonight. We had a total of $420 brought in, so half of that is $210, and we're going to draw that number right now. So get your tickets out. All right, winner is 836. 273. 836-273. Ah, okay. All right. Okay, second is...
The second is a gold veteran pin. It says, a U.S. political war, 2016 to 2020. How fitting.
This was donated, folks, by one of you tonight. I forgot who the gentleman was. Thank you.
The number would be 835-342. 835-342. For the shiny object. It's actually a real piece of gold.
But over there, we have a winner there.
The number is 835-342. 342, one more time.
835-342.
Okay.
I think I know her. We got a winner. Okay, Linda. What, you gonna do another one? Okay.
Is for the t-shirt. For the t-shirt. Okay, t-shirt. 836-175.
Last three digits, 175. We got a winner. That's a good location over there.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, you want to do one more? Got something else? Want to do one more? That's it? Okay. That's fine. Linda, wrap us up with prayer, please. Before Linda says the prayer, just want to let you know, candidates night next month, very important. You come here, hear what they have to say, so you can be an informed voter in May. Linda?
Hello? Lord, we give you thanks that you have allowed us to work together and serve you during this meeting. We ask your blessing upon our endeavors and upon all present today. May your love and grace continue to guide us in everything that we do, today and in the future. Keep us all safe on our way home. We